Hi, this is Russ Bailey from Beyond the Strange, and you're listening to Ghosts in the Valley podcast with Al Cooley.
Hello and welcome to Ghost in the Valley podcast. I'm your host, Al Cooley. Before I get into my guest today, I want to give a special announcement that at the end of this episode, I'm going to do a quick update on the missing scientist connected to the UAPs, so stay tuned for that. Tonight I have a really interesting guest. She's a fantasy writer. I met her last year at a Paracon. It was the Goblicon UFO and Paranormal Expo in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. And I went there knowing I was going to meet like 6 or 7 of the past guests that have been on my show. We're at this Paracon. That was really cool. And then I was going through the convention hall and I was picking up things, sweatshirts and air fresheners and soap and books. And I came across this book, man. It's called Mercy's Price. And I picked it up, I read the back cover, and I'm thinking, oh man, I got like 7 books already I bought today. And I was, well, I'm about to come back, Came back. Thank God she's still there. Her name is April-Lynn Davis Pugh. And I thought that was pretty cool in itself because almost all the authors down south, they have 3 names, Eric Freeman Sims, Sin Schrader Hill. So that 4th, I told somebody I was standing there, I says, she has 4 names, man. He says, well, she's special. I said, oh, okay. 4 names and he says, you're not special because you only have 2 names. He was only joking, of course, but I had a great time. I met her there. So what I want to do right now, I want to bring to the show April-Lynn Davis Pugh.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to the show, April.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Like I was saying, I love that 4 names. I love those 4 names. Now, is those given names to you or are they?
April-Lynn is my actual first name, hyphenated. My mom's best friend when she was growing up, or from college on, was named Terry Lynn.
Okay.
With the hyphen.
Yeah.
So my mom just picked my name April and just smacked that on there. And Pugh is my married name. My husband's name.
Okay, yeah. So now when I was growing up, I was always Elton Lee Cooley, because it's from the South. And you have to have 3, you have to have those 3 names,
Yeah, gotta have those names in the South.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I met you at the Goblicon, and man, wasn't that a cool convention? I mean,
yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Are you from that area?
I'm from a little down south in Clarksville, just about a half an hour down.
Clarksville, Kentucky?
Clarksville, Tennessee, actually. We're right over the border.
Oh, over the border. Okay, cool. I think Sin Schrader Hill's in Tennessee as well. She was at the Paracon. So. Like I was saying, I was surprised that I was hoping you would still be there when I walked off because I wanted to buy the book, and I'm like, I had 2 other books I was looking at, and I was like, man, my expenditures was. That's well, I'm going to go ahead and get it, And I looked at the back cover and I read a little bit on it, and I really enjoyed the book, man. I read the book, and we're going to get a couple of the characters I really was fascinated with. And how'd you come up with all this? But first, I want to get into what got you into writing in the first place.
Oh, I've been writing since pretty much I could pick up a pen. My mom's a writer. My great-great-uncle's a writer. Yeah, I have writers in my family. I've just been telling stories and stuff since I was a very small child.
So when you wrote this book, Mercy's Price, first of all, how did you come up with the title? I mean, because I had my first book came out, and I changed the titles like 5 times before I went to publishing.
I think my husband may actually have titled that one. Okay. I'm really bad at titles. I'll be like, hey, I'm writing this with these characters, and we'll just kind of brainstorm a few ideas, and that's what stuck.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever had a fascination with paranormal?
Yeah, I've loved ghost stories also all my life. I'm originally from Chattanooga, Tennessee, which is one of the more haunted towns in the South. It's not New Orleans, but it's pretty haunted. And so like my church was haunted. The school next to my church was haunted, supposedly. My college dorm, well, not my dorm, the dorm catty corner to my dorm was supposedly haunted. So I've always been around ghosts and hauntings and cryptids and just love the stories.
So you have any experiences like growing up with anything, or is it just...
My house was haunted when I was a little girl. When I was about 5-ish, I want to say. The house, like to the point where one of our neighbors actually saw someone walking through our house when they knew everyone was gone, called the police, and like they and their son blocked their front and back door. No one came in or out. Police came, nothing, no one. We heard footsteps, door slamming, the whole thing. And the house later burned down, mysteriously.
You know, that's a lot in common with mine. Spencer's Ghost, it's growing up in a haunted house. So that's based on a true story. My growing up in a haunted house, and it burned down. And, you know, I'm trying to get history. I'm writing book 2 right now, and trying to get history on that house is tough.
Yeah.
Especially when you didn't own the house and you're leasing the house. So I'm back to 1928 right now. So anyway, not about my book, but your book. I like that, you know, usually you find out in some of these authors that you've had some type of fascination or experience younger growing up with a situation that led you in that field, because you could have picked any subject really to write about. And we're going to get into without giving too much away on the book, because we want people to go to buy this book. But how did you come up with the characters? I mean, I know, with mine, I knew the people. I just had to change their names. With yours, you probably had to come up with these names to, you know, that you get to know and love as you're reading your chapters. You know, we're going to get into a couple of them. Did you have any certain thing just click that this person's going to be?
Ryu's kind of odd. My college, my dorm, there was a weird little stairwell thing with like a little hidey hole down there. You find cats and stuff down there all the time, weird things. One night I saw like a shadow that kind of was person shaped. It was actually a jacket someone had dropped down there, but it kind of intrigued me, like, what if it was a person? Who could it be and why? And it just kind of snowballed from there. Just kind of a what if, why would someone hide there?
Like in the middle of the night, do you come up with any idea and you write it down on a piece of paper? As you're writing this book, Mercy's Price, that's what we're talking about right now. How'd you come up with your ideas? I mean, I'm looking at these stories and I'm like, wow, because we're just going to get a little bit of the couple characters is Claire, who I think has a fascination. I mean, kind of, I don't know if it's a romantic, but you know what I'm saying? She was kind of connected with, what do you say his name? Ryu? Ryu? Yeah. So, and you really get to know, you think he's a kid, but he's really not. You know,
no, he is definitely not a kid, although he looks like a kid.
So let's just go into that. Tell us just a little bit about, well, before we get that, like I said, you know, you have Claire, and you have the couple of weren't they brothers?
Yeah, the twins, Jacob and Josh.
Right. Yeah, because I read this like 4 months ago. So, you know,
yeah.
So I was really fascinated with these characters, man, because Ryu, he's like 200 years older plus. You know, and every person, I'm just giving a little bit away of the book, you know, that he's connected with with his owner, as he would say, his master. She's just kind of stuck with him. She don't have to be. I mean, that's wild. I liked your concept of that story and how you wrote that.
The familiar concept, that's what Ryu is a familiar. That's explained pretty early in the book. Like
familiar, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's from like Macbeth. The names called out by the witches is Grey Malkin and something else. They're their familiars, they're creatures. So I was reading a lot of stories with, you know, just these sidekick characters, and they're always just kind of off to the side. I was like, well, what if one was the main focus of the story? You know, what's this character story? What's from The Tempest, Ariel? You know, what's their story? Why are they in this position? Why are they here? So that's kind of where Ryu came from. That's
pretty cool, because he got these powers, you know. And he'd get these gifts. I was really, really impressed with him alone. You know, I think you think of him as a kid, like this little meek kid. You know, here he's actually pretty powerful, 200-some-year-old man, and really.
Yeah, he has a few tricks up his sleeve.
He has a few tricks up his sleeve, you know, and the way she met him was unreal. Because I always say I don't believe in coincidences. Stuff happens for a reason. So I think there's a reason why she met him. And then what's cool about that is her friends were supportive of that as well. And that was important. Yeah, I mean, the book was fantastic. What was the second book you're writing?
The second book I have out is called Dead Mall. It's more of a horror story. It's about a group of people that are trapped in a dead mall. That's the term for an abandoned mall where, there might be one or two anchor stores left, but mostly they're just closed down or they're fully closed down. And these people have been trapped in this mall with with a slasher. Think like Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers type creature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's like a ghost that inhabits a body and builds it up into this monster. And they gather a group of people, usually 7 or 13, typical number. And throughout the night, hunt them down and kill them, usually very horribly with traps. And so the story is about the main character, Zach, I don't want to give too much away about Zach, but actually I think it might be on the cover. Zach is not normal either. He's kind of special. He's a college student, and he's been a college student for a couple 100 years. He's been around since the college has been around.
You like to throw these ancient people, don't you?
Yeah, it's fun having a character that's like they've seen the Civil War, and
right. Mm-hmm.
And now they're figuring out how a smartphone works, which the smartphones caused me problems because I started writing Mercy's Price back in college when I got my first cell phone in college. So the reason the character doesn't call 911 when she finds Ryu is because she couldn't in the original version. But now, everyone has a smartphone, so I just had her forget to charge it.
Right. I had that same question asked me when I was on a couple of podcasts. Why did it take me so long to write a book? Well, I'm much older, so back even I hate saying this because like your parents, back in my day,
Yeah.
But really, back when these events were taking place in my book, there was no cell phones, there was no internet, there was no Google. So the only thing you really had was the library, like you're saying, the knocking on the wall, so the stomping up the stairs. The house burning down. I mean, there's so much stuff happened with this place, that's unbelievable. So yeah, I like the and when you're talking about these ancient characters that's in your book, I like to bring in that history. That's kind of like even when you're investigating a house, like paranormal investigators. Some of these spirits have been there decades,
longer even.
And Native American Indians, they believe in the ground anyway. That's so sacred, and most of your hauntings are from the ground up. So you factor all that in, and then these last couple of books I've read, I thought one was on the vampire series. I just love the history of these stories, and even in the fantasy books, I'm finding a lot of that as well, bringing in somebody that was dead that's now living, or somebody that's been living for 300 years, and still here.
Yeah. Zach lived on a family farm that was, he was adopted by the family that owned the farm. And when the farm was bought, became the school, he just stayed. He never moved away.
Well, I hear you're writing a sequel to both these books. Is that true?
Yes. Dead Mall has a sequel that's in process on Tapas.io. It'll go up on Amazon once it's finished. I'm just putting it out serially so that you can read it piecemeal, or you can get the whole thing when it's done. That one's set in a haunted hospital.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, I'm taking bits and pieces from it's now a classroom, if it's not been knocked down in Chattanooga. There was a hospital that was closed down and was used for a teaching thing in Chattanooga, and now I think an art classroom. But there's like the morgue, you can still go down to where that was, and I've been down there, it's creepy. Of course, it's creepy. It was a morgue, but yeah, you hear like footsteps and doors closing and all that fun stuff. So I kind of borrowed some of the real events and made up some events and put them into this hospital where the characters that survive Dead Mall, some of them return for this story. And they're now trying to get a group of actually ghost hunters out of this hospital in one piece. No slasher in this one, something different. Although the slasher from the first one will probably return someday. I've not quite finished with it yet.
So you're talking about it's a real hospital? It was a real hospital?
There was a real hospital in Chattanooga I based this one off of.
Oh, okay, okay.
Like the map is made up. My mom drew the map for me.
Mm-hmm.
But like the events are taken from real hauntings and just kind of mashed together.
Chattanooga. I heard so many stories out of that town.
It's very haunted. I
don't know. Somebody was on my show before. It was, I don't know, grew up in Chattanooga, it was like you, and they were saying that almost every corner of that city, you're going to find someplace that has activity.
Oh yeah, there's so much. I mean, well, you had the Civil War battles there. Lookout Mountain, downtown Chattanooga was shelled a lot from like just rolling cannonballs down the hill practically. So you have there's like what's left of the steeple of the church that was shelled. That's supposedly pretty haunted. There's churches. I mentioned my church is haunted. North side I grew up in. The school next to it used to be a women's dorm, like a women's preparatory thing.
That always fascinates me how a church could be haunted. You always think that as being sacred, and hollow ground, and you'll have activity from that alone. And then a lot of the basements have the activity. I heard about the church in Chattanooga. I don't know which one was extremely haunted.
Oh, there's a few. There's so many.
Oh, there's a museum.
Yeah. Oh yeah, one of our museums is it I think the Hunter Museum.
That rings a bell. Yeah.
Yeah, it's up on the bluff above the Tennessee River. I've been all over that place.
It's all coming back to me now. So, what's that?
My mom was confirming. Yeah, the Hunter is very haunted. It used to be the Hunter Mansion where people lived. A few of them died there, and then they added like the kind of ugly, museum building around it. And it's I mean, if I was the ghost that owned the house,
it sounds like your mother knows a lot about the history of that.
Oh yeah, she actually used to do ghost tours.
Oh, cool. Maybe I should have her on the show too. So.
Oh yeah, she could tell you some stories. Yeah, especially Chattanooga. The Lookout Mountain is extremely haunted. Oh yeah, so many places.
Yeah, I was down in Hopkinsville, Kentucky as well. I mean, there's no place that's not. I mean,
yeah.
When I started this podcast like 8 years ago, I'm thinking, your Lizzie Borden's and your, all your famous asylums and stories you hear like that. But my favorite ones are the ones that are down in the beaten path. The ones you don't hear about. There's one in our town here I want to investigate, but it's just too demonic for me. I don't deal with that.
We actually have a haunted bridge in Clarksville, supposedly.
Yeah, we have the one in here in town. It's the covered bridge. It's the oldest active covered bridge in Ohio. Oh, it's also called the Crybaby Bridge. So how many of those do you have around the country? Like quite a few. So, and I went there to investigate that, and I didn't see or hear anything, but I have numerous friends who have. I have never seen a Bigfoot. Tennessee has a big Bigfoot population.
Yeah.
So does Kentucky, but yeah, Chattanooga. I mean, you said Chattanooga. That just kind of rung a bell because I've had a lot of stories from there. So what's coming up? What do you have? I know you got these 2 books you're working on. Anything else you want to throw in the fire, like another direction or idea?
Yeah, Mercy's Price is getting a sequel. It's going to be a short little thing, and probably a longer one later. I do have one that was published on a site, but it went down called Mithril.
Yeah.
Called Do Hand Grenades Work on Dragons? And yes, the question is answered in book. Someone does throw a hand grenade at a dragon. I believe in truth in advertising. It's about a military group, a boot camp kind of training group that is sort of cookie cuttered out of their universe into what's called Underhill. Well, elves and dragons and all sorts of things exist. It's sort of the in-between world, between dimensions, between worlds. They just kind of get yoinked and placed in there, and suddenly they find themselves surrounded by this really colorful fog, and monsters start coming out of it, and they are trying to figure out how to get home, they can't communicate with anyone. Their lines are literally cut off. One of the buildings is just chopped in half. So like they can see sort of through the fog, like just the building just gone. And they don't want to wander out into the fog because they can and will get lost. Wandering into the fog will end with you wandering forever.
Like wandering into the abyss.
Yeah, wandering into the abyss.
I like that. Yeah.
That's why they say never leave the trail when you're Underhill. Yeah, what comes out of the fog is what looks like, and actually this one is a young girl. She's not secretly 500 years old. She's actually about 16. But she is what's called a champion and a few other things. She's a warrior. She's trained to find people that have been displaced into the mist and help them get home, and that's her main job. And so they have to kind of figure out how to work together, how to communicate, because she does not speak English. She speaks, Elvish. She was raised by elves.
Mm-hmm.
And so she has to figure out they had to figure out how to communicate, why they're there, what's happened, because she's used to a person. The most she's ever had to deal with getting displaced into the mist is like a car full of people. That's the biggest thing. And then suddenly there's 2 dorms, half an armory, the tarmac-y asphalt area, part of the obstacle course, and just like this little chunk of place and like all these people, and that's not the norm. So yeah, do hand grenades work on dragons? They have to figure out how to defend themselves from all the things that are coming at them and how to get them home. That is complete, but the manuscript got my master copy got destroyed when my last computer bricked. And so I have everything. I'm a paranoid little creature, but it's in little chunks throughout my file, so I have to go and hunt them all down. So it's been a fun scavenger hunt.
Yeah, and I started this book, like, I don't know how many years ago I started it. I started on little notepads.
Yeah.
And I started on other legal pads, and I went into my laptop, and I got a laptop. I'm like, well, that's cool, And then I still have my old-fashioned Windows HP here I'm working on, So I'm still old school, but it takes me forever to write.
Yeah, it took Mercy's Price took me about 10 years to finish. Dead Mall, a few years, 2 or 3, I want to say. It's much shorter. Dead Ward it will probably take me a year to finish the rough, and then it'll go through edits and stuff.
Now, is Dead Mall a regular paperback book?
Yes, there is a paperback of Dead Mall and a paperback of Mercy's Price right now.
Yeah, I've got the Mercy Price. I'm going to pick up that Dead Mall. When you said that the sequel is going to be like a novella.
The sequel to Mercy's Price is going to be a novella called Mercy's Hunt. Claire's going to meet the Wild Hunt.
When's that coming out?
I will start publishing it as soon as I finish with Dead Ward, which is it's actually turning out longer than Dead Mall because it's a lot easier to kidnap a character and stuff them in a bad situation than to actually convince them to walk into the bad situation of their own free will. So it's taken a few chapters to actually get them into the building.
So what do you have planned for this year? What's coming up? Any other Paracons or signings or?
I have signed back up for Goblicon, so I'll be back there again. I'm not sure. I'm hoping to do at least one other convention, but it's still in the sign up and hope phase right now.
Yeah, I'm like 8 hours away from Goblicon, so it's like for me to drive there. It's like I like to go back.
That was a drive.
Yeah, I like to go back, but I have so many other ones that I want to see and go to as well. And plus I'm playing in a band, so it's whatever weekends I have free. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I love that. I love the people run the Goblicon, and it's a really nice place. I've never been to Hopkinsville before.
It's a nice town.
That was a nice town, nice little town. My cousin who lives in Alabama, so you're halfway here, man. Why don't you just come on down?
It's already almost here.
I thought about it. It's like, well, the whole family's in Alabama, I should say.
Just head on down.
Yeah.
Yeah, we mostly do local area stuff because I have a kid and he's 10, he's about to turn 11, so I
remember those days like yesterday.
Gotta be home. We could go wherever we want on the weekends, but got to be home on Monday because you got to get to school and
bedtime and school.
Yeah, and bedtime, school. Managing. You might have seen him. He was with us at the table. He was a little guy.
I don't know. I might have. I have so much going on. I just.
Yeah, or he might have been wandering around. He's pretty good at conventions, so we kind of let him have his freedom of movement.
I think another lady was with you. I can't remember.
Oh yeah, that would be my mom. Yeah, she's
okay.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. We've been doing craft tables and writers tables together since I was his younger than him. It's better to have a second person with you when you do these things because Yeah, it's like I'm gonna have to look up like Conapalooza up in Virginia is one I've done in the past. It's a really good one. They run it really well. Chattanooga sometimes has cons. It got shut down for COVID and everything. So I don't know about ABC Con being back, and of course some of them would get so crowded and busy and expensive.
Right. I like this one I went to a couple of years ago. A lot. It was called the Fleetwood Church. It was in Culpeper, Virginia. And
that sounds.
I did a book signing there, and then I was a speaker there. So I enjoyed that one. It's so much history there with the Civil War. So it was fantastic.
Yeah, we've done. We do a lot of anime cons, and we do like panels. I've done crochet panels, storyline panels. Did a whole retrospective on Voltron one year for a Daycon Clarksville.
I'm glad you're going back to Hopkinsville. That's a nice place. Hope you have luck with selling your books there. How do you like book signing? Hey, enjoy that?
It's fun. I like meeting people. It's always interesting to see how people react to the book and how they like it. It's always fun, like the question, the dreaded question, what's the book about? Well, I wrote it.
Yeah.
It has words.
If you read it, you'll find out.
It's like, well, Like,
mine was cool because it's from the area. So I when I did my book signing, this was so cool, man. When my book came out, my book signing was at the Ghost Walk that we have every year, where about 10,000 people come through town. So naturally, the things are in my book, the courthouse and the log cabin and the river. I was sitting there looking at it, literally looking at it. So that was so cool. It's like all this right here, it's in my book. And if you're from Warren, Ohio, you'll know the stories in the book because you know the area. To my friend today, I said, man, there's more stuff happened to me in this last couple of weeks that has happened all year, So I enjoyed your book, man. I hope you the best of luck with the Mercy's Price. And where can people go to get your book or contact you?
My Facebook page, it's Magus of Chaos Writing, is where you found me. If you search my name or search April-Lynn Davis Pugh, like on the book, that'll bring you there, or Magus of Chaos Writing. That's an old email tag I don't use anymore except for my writing.
Is it available on Amazon or?
Yes, both books are available on Amazon.com. I have a Kindle edition and the print you can buy. And on Tapis.io, I'm again Magus of Chaos, April-Lynn Davis. And it'll find you kind of a rough version of those, and so that people know what's going on, and the Monday and Friday updates for Dead Ward.
Okay,
so,
I'll put the links in the show notes where they can go pick up your book. And
thank you.
See, if I go, I'll look forward to see you at the Hopkinsville. If I don't, then good luck there.
Oh, thank you, and drop by and say hi.
Well, most definitely. Maybe you know who I am this time. I mean, so many people stop by your table. It's like, and you get these I call them looky loos. They just come and they look at it, put it down, okay, or they don't even look at you at all. And then they'll come back and like, okay, they don't really care about it. But they'll come back and they get their own story to tell me. It's always interesting how some people don't like to do book signings. I just thought I'd ask you because a lot of authors like just selling it on Kindle or Amazon or social media, TikTok. And I myself personally, I like to get out there and see the people, talk to the people.
Yeah, I like meeting people. I like being like, hey, here's my book. Here's what I've written. I've done like Hypericon, just like having a little pile of books at the table and being like, hey.
Yeah. I think I only had the one there when I was at your table, though. Mercy's Price.
Yeah, I think I'd run out of Dead Mall by the time you dropped by again.
Yeah, I definitely gonna pick that one up. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's a fun read. I think, at least. Obviously, I'm a little biased, but I had fun writing it. And most people seem to enjoy it.
Yeah, if you believe in yourself, and it comes through, it really does. And I think you do. And I think you're a great writer. I read the book. I encourage my listeners, check it out. It's really, really good. Mercy's Price. Thank you very much. Hopefully I'll see you again this year.
Hopefully, I look forward to it.
Thank you, April-Lynn Davis Pugh. Please check out her links at the bottom of this episode. I want to give a quick update on the UAP missing and dead. Since last week's episode, the White House and FBI have launched a holistic review into 11 scientists tied to sensitive aerospace and nuclear research who have died or vanished since 2024. 4 notable cases are tied to the LA County. Despite a 2025 search in Los Angeles, officials have not confirmed a connection between the 11 nationwide cases. The FBI are investigating the deaths and disappearances of the U.S. scientists. Various federal investigations are continuing. A series of investigations and the disappearances or deaths of U.S. scientists across the country, including at least 4 tied to the Los Angeles area, to determine any connections among the cases, possible national security threats. But I had a comment that was sent to me. What makes these people more special than the other people, thousands of people that are missing across the United States? What generates a scientist being more important than a child missing? That was a very important question. But I do want to hit on this. As of 2014, an estimated average of 90,000 people in the United States are missing at any given time, with about 90% being adults, 40% being children. In 2021, the total number of missing people in the U.S. was 520,000. 520,000 people missing in the U.S. So how do these scientists, why are they more important than a child? I don't know if that's a correct way of putting that, a child's life is to me the most precious. But these scientists that are connected to nuclear programs, aerospace, national security for our country, I think that's weighed heavily into making the national news. I did want to address that comment that was sent to me, and I will keep you updated in months ahead on any updates of the missing scientists and people connected to the aerospace program. I'm your host, Al Cooley, Ghost in the Valley podcast.